Today, first team featuring Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, Ben Simmons, Drew Holiday, and Giannis. The second team features Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Matisse Thybulle. Monica McNutt, welcome to The Jump. Anyone you wanted to see on there that did not make it?
Thanks for the welcome, Rachel. Hey, VC. Dylan Brooks, anyone? I mean, this is the guy who slowed down Steph significantly, obviously, in that play-in game. But just in general, I mean, he has the rep of never backing down from a good defensive matchup. I'm going to assume the fact that he's so willing to use all of his fouls kind of hurt his case, but I think Dylan Brooks should have been on this list.
I'm going to go with Clint Capella. And Rachel, I already know what you're going to say, the Hawks. But Clint Capella, what he's done for his team and allowed them to move on. I mean, he was great against with the Knicks. He was great against the Knicks, you know, as far as defensively, getting them in transition and knocking down threes. So,
hey, when it's it. Make Houdini. Let's start in Philly. Trae Young, well, not in Philly, but Trae Young driving, finds John Collins in the corner. We showed this earlier. When you see your youngsters, Vince, playing like this, are you so proud?
It's a proud big brother moment. I mean, those guys have played together long enough to where Trae knows where John is, and John is. You see, his hands were already ready because he knew it was coming.
What do you like about this? Right?
The craftiness from Trae, man. I mean, he's elevated on this stage, both as a scorer and a facilitator, easily.
I love this whole thing, because, by the way, John came up with the rebound that kicked this back out and everything to begin with. Teamwork makes the dream. Teamwork makes it. I'm done. All right, let's move on. There you go. Miss. Boxing out. Sticking with John Collins. Not just one, but two big putbacks for Atlanta in the second half.
Upper room.
Right? So, Monica, if you're the Sixers, like, how do you put a body on him? Because this is, I mean, he did phenomenal, but he was by himself.
I mean, it's the very fundamental thing we learn, like, playing base basketball, right? If you're guarding him, turn, armbar, literally put your butt in his gut. Like, you gotta find this dude. I mean, and honestly, to be fair, he's probably the kind of dude that probably would jump over the box out and then see what happens with the referees making a decision.
You're right about that. And the biggest thing that happens in the NBA game is we ball watch. We see a shot go up, and what do? We go like this. And with a live wire like John Collins, which you should know in the scouting report, he's going to hit the glass.
Amen. All right, make ambition. Bogdanovic out in transition, attempting to put up a shot between Kawhi and PG. Kawhi said, no, I'm sorry. You will not be doing that. Vince, should Bogey give him a pump fake next time? I don't know.
Or just dribble out to the three-point line. Right there, you're going in between two guys right there. So I can imagine Kawhi said, no way, baby.
Very accurate. I want to know who was trailing. Is there a jump stop and a pitch back here? Is there another pass? Because you're trying to go between those two, particularly the way that they're playing defense right now. Bad news Bears.
No. And look, there were a couple games, you know, in the first two games of the series where the defense was not always elite, but it was pretty elite last night. All right, Miss Subtlety. Kawhi driving in. The man doesn't just defend. Derek Favors found out last night he can do this as well. My Lord. And by the way, Vince, he did not yell. He did not do anything. He went. Right?
You see right here, he's going to dunk the ball, look at the basketball, and go on about his business.
What would you have done?
Not that. Rev it up, baby.
Rev it up, baby. Let's go.
Our great colleague Ramona Shelburne obviously had the opportunity to talk to Kawhi post-game because she's covering this, and she pointed out that he said after that play, he went down to the other end, and I believe Bogdanovic hit a three, and that's where his mind was. That's why Kawhi's so great, because I, too, would have shut it down with a celebration.
The man does know how to dunk, so we figured why not run it back to his best playoff dunks, 2016. So he keeps Russ on his hip here, and then there you go.
It looked like he picked the ball up off the dribble and just palmed it. Look at that. Pick it up.
By the way, he's outrunning Russell Westbrook, which is a thing.
He makes it look so easy.
Woo. 2019, flying by two Philly defenders for the slam.
Oh, yes.
We know how this series ended, right? Bounce, in.
That was foreshadowing on how the series would end.
Woo.
Right there.
My Lord.
Remember, everybody was talking about the injury and could he still get up?
Yep. Apparently the answer was yes. Yes, he could. 2014, packing it in on Serge Ibaka.
That's a
Business
tough task
decision,
right there.
Serge. Business decision. Got to be a business decision, Serge. Don't do that.
I want to time travel and tell 2014 Serge, don't worry, that man's going to help you get a ring 5 years from now.
Right.
There you go.
Right? That would make his night much better, right? And then just last month, we all remember, just detonated Max Kleba. Yeah, I will say Dallas won this game. I think it's always important to point that out. But this still shot was just ridiculous.
Excellent.
And see, I think the emotion is because man down. Man falls down, man hits the basket protection.
This was in 2019. Oh, yes.
Take off. Woo.
On
the
Giannis.
left.
This is how this became number one, because it is on Defensive Player of the Year, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And that's with the left.
Right?
I mean, it looked like right, no, left.
That-
Ooh.
the Kyle Lowry setup, though, is pretty elite.
It
here.
was,
like,
yes.
We got to
Yeah.
acknowledge that part.
It's almost
Monica,
like
you said
Kyle
jump
Lowry's
stop.
good.
You remember you said jump stop. There's the example
there
of the
it
jump
is.
stop
Yep.
because pass it back, let Kawhi
Very
do what he
fundamental.
does.
There you go. I like it.
Did you know, Vince, that Monica played for Georgetown? Have I mentioned that
I
like
do. Oh
my God, I
600
do.
times on this
Oh,
show?
I already know. I already know. Yes, I know. I know. I
I'm
know
just
all
going
about
to
it.
keep saying that. You know how I feel about the Hoyas. All right, let's stick with Kawhi, but also his teammate Paul George. Last night, PG-13 and Kawhi each dropped 31 in another win at home to even up the series, while a lot of the focus is on PG because he's such an X factor. If he has a great game, it makes a huge difference. You got to check Kawhi's numbers between wins and losses, because even in losses, he's very, very good. But look at him in wins. The man has been nuclear, averaging nearly 34 points a game on 65, 45, 90 shooting splits. Now in losses again, more human, averaging 26 on 48, 32, 85 shooting splits. But Vince, the Clippers now tied 2-2 after trailing 0-2. So what do you think has changed for them that they are now in it in this series?
I mean, it's easy to say home cooking. That's easy. But I give the credit to Ty Lue for making the adjustment of playing small ball. It worked in game 3, and they started with it in game 4. And here's why I say that. It put Gobert in a situation where he can't get to the help side blocks or in the paint fast enough because he's leaving shooters. And when he did step in the paint, penetrate, pitch, Marcus Morris, open three. Batum, open three. So they put him in a situation where Gobert didn't know what to do, and I thought it was genius to start with that. And now it opened the paint up for Kawhi and PG to get into the paint whenever they wanted.
VC, I don't know which one comes first, if it is the offensive decisions in terms of that small ball or what it has allowed them to do defensively, because I've been impressed in the last 2 games with the way literally the Clippers are flying around defensively 1 through 5. We know that Pat Bev, we know that Paul George in spots and Kawhi Leonard have made it very difficult on Donovan Mitchell, but in general, there's not been a lapse in terms of their defensive rotations and missing their assignments. And to me, that energy on the defensive end has allowed them to get up and down the floor, out in transition, get to those spots where they're knocking down threes. And so the small ball thing is huge. I'm noticing it on the defensive side of the ball just as much.
Well, look, it is going to be fascinating because the Utah Jazz earned that number 1 seed, right? So Dallas lost the last 4 of the last 5 games in that first round series. The Jazz are not the type of team that has lost 4 out of 5 games this season. So for the Clippers, even though they've gotten back in it, for them to win, they will have to win 4 of the final 5 games of the series. It is a steep hill, but they are starting to climb it. All right, we are going to talk James Harden right after this break because he is now cleared to